The diplomatic ship called the Eternal Dawn had been floating in space for 3 weeks now. It was watching Earth from very far away. The ship was beautiful and silver, and it moved through the darkness like a fish moving through deep water. Inside the ship, Ambassador stood near the big window and looked at the small blue planet in the distance. Was not human. Her skin was silver and it glowed softly like moonlight. She had 4 arms instead of 2, and her eyes were the color of honey. She was tall and thin, and when she moved like water flowing. She had been alive for 300 years, which was still young for her species. The lived for almost 1,000 years. They are such a young species, said. He was standing next to. He was her advisor, and he had been working with her for 50 years. His skin was darker silver than hers, almost gray, and his voice sounded like wind blowing through glass bells. The humans only learned to travel in space a few hundred years ago. The Galactic Council says they are not important. They say humans are not a threat to anyone. Did not answer right away. She was watching the blue planet spin slowly. She could see the white clouds and the green and brown land. It was a pretty planet, small but pretty. They have so much war, she finally said. Their history is full of blood and fighting. They fight over land. They fight over ideas. They fight over things that do not matter at all. How can a species survive when they are always trying to kill each other? Made a sound that was like a laugh but softer. That is why the Council does not worry about them. They will probably destroy themselves before they become a real spacefaring species. Give them another 1,000 years and they might not exist anymore. Other members of the diplomatic team were on the bridge too. There was the medical officer. Her skin was pale blue, almost white, and she carried scanning tools everywhere she went. There was the chief engineer. He was big for her and his hands were always dirty with engine grease. There was Young, a pilot who was only 80 years old. She was curious about everything, especially about the strange planet they were watching. I think they are interesting, said. She was looking at a screen that showed information about Earth. They make such beautiful music. And their food. They have so many different kinds of food. We only have maybe 20 types of food on Prime. They have thousands. Food does not make a species great, said. Maybe not, replied, but it makes them interesting. Was about to say something. She opened her mouth. She started to speak, but then the alarms began to scream. Red lights flashed everywhere. The sound was loud and sharp, hurting everyone's ears. All the crew members ran to their stations. His fingers flew across his control panel, grabbed her medical bag, moved closer to, ready to protect her. What is happening? Demanded. A ship, shouted the sensor officer. His name was, and he looked scared. A ship just came out of hyperspace right next to us. It appeared from nowhere. Looked at the main screen. Her honey-colored eyes went wide. There was indeed a ship there, but it was not like any ship she had ever seen. It was tiny. It was smaller than their shuttle bay. It was shaped like a box with engines attached to it, and it looked like it was falling apart. Smoke was coming from holes in its body. Lights flickered on and off. One of its engines was completely dead. That is a human ship, said. His voice was quiet with shock. That is impossible, said. That ship just made a hyperspace jump. The humans do not have hyperspace technology, and even if they did, that ship is too small. It would have been torn apart by the jump. The ship was drifting now. It was spinning slowly because its control systems were broken. Could see that it was leaking something. Radiation, probably. The whole thing looked like it might explode at any moment. Then a voice came through their communication system. It was scratchy and full of static, but they could understand it. This is Captain of the Korean Space Exploration Corps. I am requesting emergency docking. My life support systems are failing. Please respond. The voice was calm, too calm for someone who was about to die, had heard many beings face death before. They screamed, they cried, they begged, but this human voice was steady. It was like he was asking for directions to a store, not asking to be saved from death. Froze, she stopped moving completely. She stopped breathing. Her mouth was still open from the sentence she had been about to say, but no words came out. It was not because she was scared. It was because of what her sensors were telling her. "Ambassador," whispered, her blue face had gone even paler. "The radiation levels around that ship. The human inside should be dead. The amount of radiation he has been exposed to would kill in seconds. It would kill most species in the galaxy. But he is still alive. He is still talking." And the hyperspace jump added. His voice was shaking. "I am looking at the readings now. He jumped 400 light years in that tiny ship. The stress on the hull should have crushed him flat. The inertial forces alone. This is impossible. This cannot be real." But it was real. The broken ship was right there in front of them. The human was still talking. "I know my ship looks bad," Captain said through the communication system. "But I have important information. Please let me come aboard. Many lives depend on it." Finally found her voice, but it was hard to speak. Her mind was trying to understand what she was seeing, and it could not. "Bring him aboard," she said quietly. Ambassador grabbed her arm with one of his hands. "We do not know who he is. We do not know what he wants. This could be a trap." "A trap," looked at the dying ship. "He is one human in a broken box. He is more radiation than flesh at this point. What kind of trap could this be?" "I do not know. That is what worries me." Looked at the ship again. She thought about what An had said. This human had done something impossible. He had crossed 400 light years of space in a ship that should not have survived. He had taken enough radiation to kill him 10 times over, and he was still alive, still talking, still calm. She wanted to know why. "Open the shuttle bay," she ordered. "Bring him in. I want to meet this human." The crew followed her orders. The shuttle bay doors opened. A tractor beam reached out and pulled the broken human ship inside. Everyone on the bridge watched in silence. Looked at the screen with wide eyes. "He really did it," she said softly. "He really flew through hyperspace in that thing. How is that possible?" "It is not possible," said. "That is the problem." Straightened her back and walked toward the door. "I am going to the shuttle bay. Come with me. He will need medical attention. You come too. Everyone else stay alert. If this is a trap, I want to know immediately." As she walked through the corridors of her ship, thought about all the species they had met in their 10,000 years of traveling through space. They had met conquerors who burned worlds. They had met traders who could sell anything. They had met scientists who knew secrets of the universe. They had met monsters and saints and everything in between. But she had a feeling that she had never met anyone like this human, this captain. She did not know it yet, but she was right. And when she learned the truth about why he had come, her entire world would turn upside down. The shuttle bay was full of smoke and the smell of burning metal. Walked in with and beside her. 10 security guards stood in a circle around the human ship, their weapons ready. The ship itself looked even worse up close. It was black with burn marks. Pieces of it were falling off. One whole section was missing, and could see the inside of the ship through the hole. "How did he survive in that?" asked. She was already scanning the ship with her medical tools. "There is so much radiation. The life support systems are completely dead. He should have frozen to death or suffocated or been cooked by radiation. Probably all three." The door of the human ship opened. It did not open smoothly. It broke off and fell to the floor with a loud crash. Smoke poured out of the opening. Then a figure appeared. Stepped out of his dying ship. He was tall for a human, but still shorter than the around him. His hair was black and messy and stuck to his forehead with sweat. His face was covered in blood from a cut on his head. His space suit was torn in many places. His left arm was hanging at a strange angle, probably broken. He looked like he should be dead. But his eyes were alive. They were dark brown, almost black, and they looked around the shuttle bay with calm intelligence. He saw the guards with their weapons. He saw the aliens watching him. He did not look scared at all. "Thank you for letting me in," he said. His voice was rough from thirst but still steady. "I know I look bad, sorry about the mess." He took one step forward. Then his legs gave out and he started to fall. Moved fast. She caught him before he hit the ground. Her forearms wrapped around him gently and she lowered him to the floor. Her scanning tools hummed as they checked his body. "Get a medical bed," she shouted. "Now, his organs are failing. He has severe radiation poisoning, 3 broken ribs, a broken arm, internal bleeding, burns, dehydration." She looked up with shock on her blue face. "Ambassador, this man should have died hours ago. His heart should have stopped. His cells should have fallen apart from the radiation. But he is still here. He is still conscious. I do not understand." Laughed. It was a weak laugh, but it was real. "Humans are hard to kill," he said. "My grandmother always said so. She lived through 3 wars and a famine, died at age 97 in her sleep, very peaceful." The medical bed arrived. They lifted onto it and started giving him treatments. She injected medicines into his body. She wrapped his wounds. She put machines on him that would fight the radiation inside him. "You need to rest," told him. "You need to sleep for many days, maybe weeks." "No time," said. He tried to sit up, pushed him back down. "You do not understand. I did not come here to rest. I came here to warn you." Stepped closer to the bed. She looked down at this strange human. He was so small compared to her, so fragile looking. But there was something in his eyes that was not fragile at all. "Warn us about what?" she asked. Reached into a pocket of his torn suit. His hand was shaking. He pulled out a small device. It was cracked and burned, but it still worked. He pushed a button, and a holographic image appeared in the air above it. The image showed space, stars and planets and empty darkness, but moving through that space was a fleet of ships, hundreds of ships. They were ugly and black, covered in weapons and spikes. They looked like monsters made of metal. 3 days ago," said, "this fleet passed through our solar system. They came close to Earth. We thought they were going to attack us, but they did not stop. They just passed through. They were going somewhere else." His honey eyes narrowed. Yes, that is what our records called them. Though we have heard stories about them. They destroy planets, they kill everything, they show no mercy." "We know said. His voice was bitter. "We have been at war with them for 300 years, but they have never attacked our home world directly. Their territory is far from ours." Shook his head. The movement made him wince with pain. "Not anymore. I calculated their trajectory. I looked at their speed and their direction. I did the math many times because I could not believe it." He looked at. "They are going to Prime, your home world. They will arrive in 6 days." Silence filled the shuttle bay. Everyone stopped moving. Even the machines seemed to go quiet. Felt cold. Prime was home to 8 billion of her people. It was the heart of their civilization, if they attacked it. "That is impossible," said, but his voice was shaking. "How could you know this? How could you calculate such a thing? Your species barely understands space travel." Smiled. It was a tired, sad smile. "I am good at math. I work as a navigator. I calculate trajectories every day. And I had good equipment on my ship. Well, I used to have good equipment. Most of it is burned now." "But why?" asked. This was the question that confused her most. "Why did you come here? Why did you risk your life to warn us? You are human. We are strangers. We have never even talked to your species before." Was quiet for a moment. He seemed to be thinking about how to answer. "Because it was the right thing to do," he finally said. "I saw the fleet. I knew where they were going. I knew what they would do when they got there. I could have done nothing. I could have stayed home and been safe. But I could not do that." "Why not?" demanded. "Because my mother raised me better than that." Stared at him. She had met many species in her life. She had met beings who would sacrifice anything for power. She had met beings who would sell their own children for money. She had met beings who cared only about themselves and nothing else. But she had never met a being who would die for strangers. "Your mother," she said slowly, She taught you to do this. She is a teacher, said. She teaches young children. She always told me that the measure of a person is not what they do when it is easy. It is what they do when it is hard. She said that if you see something wrong and you can help, then you must help. It does not matter if you are scared. It does not matter if it is dangerous. You help because that is what good people do. He coughed. Blood came out of his mouth, quickly wiped it away and gave him more medicine. I did not know if I would survive the journey, continued. I probably should not have survived. My ship was too small and too weak. The jump drive was not designed for such a long distance. I had to remove the safety systems to make it work. I had to bypass the inertial dampeners. I borrowed some ideas from my grandmother's fishing boat, actually. It is funny. She used to fix her boat with wire and tape and hope. I did the same thing with my spaceship. You modified hyperspace technology, said. He had walked closer to listen. His voice was full of wonder and disbelief. Technology that took us 10,000 years to develop. You modified it using ideas from a fishing boat. It was a very good fishing boat, said. My grandmother was proud of it. Did not know what to say. She did not know what to think. This human had done something that should have been impossible. He had crossed the stars in a broken ship. He had survived radiation that should have killed him. And he had done it all to save people he had never met. You are a fool, said, but his voice was not angry. It was confused. A brave fool, but still a fool. You threw away your life for nothing. Even if your warning is true, what can we do? If they are coming with a fleet that large, we cannot stop them. Looked at him. His dark eyes were serious. Then you run, you evacuate your planet, you save as many people as you can. It is not a perfect solution, but it is better than doing nothing. And what about you? Asked. What will you do? I will help if I can, said. I know I am just one human. I know I am almost dead, but I can still think. I can still calculate. Maybe I can be useful. He smiled again. And if I cannot be useful, at least I will not be in the way. I promise. Looked at this strange, brave, foolish human. She looked at his broken body and his calm eyes. She looked at the impossible ship that had brought him across the stars. And she made a decision. We will take your warning to Prime, she said. We will tell the High Council what you have told us, and you will come with us. You will stand before the council and tell them yourself. They will not believe me, said. No, agreed. They probably will not, but they will have to listen, and maybe, just maybe, that will be enough. She turned to her crew. Set a course for Prime, maximum speed. We have 6 days to save our world. As the eternal dawn turned toward home, looked back at the human one more time. He had already fallen unconscious. His body was finally giving up, finally surrendering to the damage it had taken. But he was still breathing, still fighting. Humans are hard to kill, he had said. Was starting to believe him. The journey to Prime took 2 days at maximum speed. During that time, was in the medical bay, worked on him constantly. She gave him medicines that had developed over thousands of years. She used machines to clean the radiation from his blood. She fixed his broken arm and healed his broken ribs. On the 2nd day, woke up. He was weak, but he was alive. The medical technology had saved him. You should be resting, told him when she found him trying to get out of bed. I have been resting for 2 days, said. That is enough resting. I need to do something useful. What could you possibly do in your condition? Smiled. I could look at your engines. Did not understand what he meant, but would not stay in bed, so she let him walk around the ship. She followed him with her medical tools, ready to catch him if he fell. Walked slowly through the corridors of the eternal dawn. He looked at everything. He touched the walls. He examined the lights and the doors and the panels. He asked questions about everything he saw. How does this system work? What does this button do? Why is this wire here? The crew thought he was strange. Why did a dying human want to know about their ship? But they answered his questions. It was easier than arguing with him. Eventually, found his way to the engine room. The chief engineer was working there. He looked up in surprise when the human walked in. "You should not be here," said. "This is a sensitive area. Only trained engineers are allowed." "I am a trained engineer," said. "I built my own ship. Well, I modified my own ship. The original was designed by someone else, but I changed most of it." Remembered the broken ship in the shuttle bay, the ship that had done the impossible. His curiosity was stronger than his caution. "Fine," he said. "You can look, but do not touch anything." Walked around the engine room. He looked at the machines and the cables and the glowing reactors. He nodded sometimes. He frowned sometimes. After about an hour, he stopped in front of a section of pipes and wires. "This is your coolant system," he said. It was not a question. "Yes," said. "It keeps the engines from overheating." "It is not working very well." His gray skin turned slightly red. This was how showed anger. "Our coolant system is one of the best in the galaxy. It was designed by our greatest engineers. It has been perfected over 12,000 years. "I am sure it was very good when it was designed," said calmly. "But there is a problem here. Look." He pointed at a junction where several pipes came together. "You are losing heat through this section. The thermal energy is bleeding away instead of being captured and recycled. I estimate you are losing about 12% of your engine power because of this." Walked over to look. He did not believe the human, but he looked anyway. He looked for a long time. "How did you see that?" he finally asked. His voice was quiet now. The anger was gone. "Our sensors did not detect this problem." "Your sensors are looking for big problems," said. "This is a small problem. It has probably been happening for hundreds of years, so slowly that no one noticed. But small problems add up over time." "Can it be fixed?" Pulled a small tool from his pocket. He did not know where he had gotten it, maybe from his own ship. He borrowed a piece of paper from and started drawing. "You need to reroute the tertiary coolant loop through here," he said, drawing lines on the paper. "Then add a simple heat exchanger at this point. Nothing complicated, just basic thermodynamics. The heat that is now being lost will be captured and sent back to the engines. You will get your 12% power back, maybe more." Looked at the drawing. It was simple, too simple. Engineers had made everything complicated over the years. They had added more and more systems and more parts. They had forgotten that sometimes the simplest solution was the best. "This would take about 4 hours to install," said slowly. "We have the parts on board." "Then why not do it?" asked. Looked at the human. This strange, dying creature from a young planet. He had walked into an engine room he had never seen before and found a problem that engineers had missed for centuries. "Why did you look for this problem?" asked. "You are a guest on this ship. You are injured. You should be resting. Why did you come here and look at our engines?" Shrugged. "I like fixing things. It is what I do. When I see a problem, I want to solve it. I cannot help it. Even when the problem is not yours." "All problems are everyone's problems," said. "That is what my father taught me. He repairs engines in a small shop in my home city, cars and motorcycles and boats. He always said that a broken machine is a sad thing. It wants to work properly. It wants to be fixed. And if you can fix it, you should fix it. Not because someone pays you, but because it is the right thing to do." Did not know what to say. He had been an engineer for 200 years. He had fixed thousands of machines, but he had never thought of it like that. He had never thought that machines wanted to be fixed. But now that the human said it, he could not stop thinking about it. Meanwhile, Ambassador was in the communication room. She was sending a message to Prime. She had sent the message 3 times already, but the response was not what she had hoped for. His face appeared on the screen. He was old, even for a. His silver skin was darker, almost gray, and his face was full of lines. He had led the council for 300 years. He was wise and careful, and he did not like surprises. "Ambassador," he said, "I have received your message. I have discussed it with the council. We have made our decision. And what is that decision, Hi? We do not believe the human's warning. Felt her heart sink, had two hearts and both of them felt heavy now. May I ask why? Because it does not make sense, said. A human crossed 400 light years in a primitive ship to warn us about an attack. How did he know about Prime? How did he calculate their trajectory? The humans barely know anything about the galaxy. They have no intelligence network. They have no spies. This story is impossible. I saw his ship, said. I saw what condition he was in. No one would go through that unless they truly believed what they were saying. Or unless it was a very good trick. A trick? What kind of trick? His face appeared next to his. He was younger and more aggressive. He had always distrusted other species. The humans may have made a deal with the, said. This could be a trap. The human warns us about an attack. We panic. We move our fleet to protect the home world. And then the real attack comes somewhere else. Somewhere we have left undefended. That is insane, said. The humans do not even know they have no relationship with them. That we know of, replied. We know very little about humans. They could be anything. They could be our enemies. They could be working with our enemies. We cannot trust them. Then meet him, said. I am bringing him to Prime. Talk to him yourself. Look into his eyes, ask him your questions, then decide if he is lying. There was silence on the other end, and looked at each other. Very well, finally said. Bring the human to the council. We will hear what he has to say, but I warn you, Ambassador. If this is a trick, if this human has deceived you, the consequences will be severe, for him and for you. The communication ended, sat alone in the dark room for a long time. She thought about his calm voice and his broken body and his impossible journey. She thought about what he had said about his mother and his father and his grandmother. She did not believe he was lying. She could not believe it. There was something about him that felt true, something real and honest and pure. But the council did not know him. The council only knew that a strange creature from a strange planet had appeared with a strange warning, and the council was afraid. Fear makes people stupid, thought. It makes them see enemies everywhere. It makes them reject help when they need it most. She hoped she was wrong. She hoped the council would listen. But deep in her two hearts she was worried, very worried. The eternal dawn flew on toward Prime, and somewhere in the darkness of space the fleet was flying too. The clock was ticking. 6 days had become 4 days. And soon it would become even less. They came early. Had calculated that they would arrive in 6 days, but they arrived in 4. They had increased their speed. They were hungry for destruction. When the alarm started screaming was still on the eternal dawn. They had just reached Prime. They had not even landed yet. The council was waiting to meet him. But now the council had other problems. 100 warships appeared in the sky above Prime. They came out of hyperspace like monsters bursting from the darkness. Their ships were black and ugly, covered in weapons and sharp metal spikes. They looked like creatures from a nightmare. They had 30 ships to defend their home world, 30 against 100. Stood on the bridge and watched the battle begin. The ships flew up to meet the enemy. They fired their weapons. Blue beams of light shot through space, but the shields absorbed most of the damage. The ships kept coming. Our weapons are not strong enough, said. His voice was empty. He knew what was going to happen. Their shields are too powerful. We cannot break through. On the main screen a ship exploded, then another, then another. 8 billion people lived on Prime. 8 billion people who were about to die. Walked onto the bridge. He was still weak, still healing, but his eyes were sharp and focused. Put me on a ship, he said. Everyone turned to look at him, shook her head. You cannot be serious. You are injured. You are one human. What could you possibly do? I do not know, admitted, but I cannot stand here and watch. I cannot do nothing while people die. Please, give me a chance. That is all I ask, one chance. looked at him. She remembered what he had said about his mother, about doing the right thing even when it was hard, about helping because that was what good people did. She made a decision. She said to the young pilot, "Your ship has a gunner seat, does it not?" His eyes went wide. "Yes, Ambassador, but surely you do not mean." "Take the human, let him try." The human looked back at her. There was no fear in his eyes, only determination. "Come on," said, "let us see what humans can do." They ran to the shuttle bay. The ship was small and fast, designed for scouting, not for war, but it was all they had. As they launched into the battle, looked at the weapons controls. They were different from human systems, but not too different. He figured them out quickly. "I need you to trust me," he told. "I am going to tell you where to fly. The things I say might sound crazy, but please trust me." "I am trusting a human I met 4 days ago with my life," said. "I think I am already past crazy." The battle was chaos. Ships were everywhere, firing and dodging and exploding. They were winning. For every enemy ship they destroyed, they lost 2 of their own. "Fly toward that big ship," said. He pointed at a cruiser. "Get close to it." "That is a terrible idea. It will destroy us." "It will not. It cannot shoot something that is too close. It will be afraid of hitting itself. Trust me." Hesitated, but she remembered what the ambassador had said. She flew toward the enemy cruiser. Was right. When they got close, the cruiser's weapons stopped firing at them. They were too near. The guns could not aim at them without risking damage to their own ship. "Now what?" asked. "Now we stay close to it. Use it as a shield. Other ships will not fire at us because they might hit their own cruiser." It worked. They hid in the shadow of the enemy ship. The battle raged around them, but they were safe. "This is brilliant," said. "But how does this help us win?" "Listen," said. "Listen to the sound of our weapons hitting their shields." Did not understand, but she fired a few shots at the cruiser and listened. The weapons made a sound when they hit the shields, a deep humming sound, like a bell being struck. "The shields vibrate when they are hit," said. "Different frequencies mean different weaknesses. That hum we just heard, it means this part of the shield is weaker, if we hit it enough times with the right frequency. The shield will break," finished. "Exactly. My grandmother's fishing boat made a similar noise when the hull was stressed. Different sounds meant different problems. Same principle." Stared at him. "You learned about shield technology from a fishing boat." "I learned everything from that fishing boat. It was a very educational boat." They fired again and again at the same spot on the cruiser's shield. The humming grew louder and higher. Then, with a flash of light, the shield broke. A hole appeared. Fired through the hole. The shot hit the cruiser's engine. The engine exploded. Then the whole ship exploded. The cruiser, one of their biggest ships, was destroyed by a tiny scout ship and a dying human. Word spread through the fleet. Someone had found a way to break the shields. A human had found a way. "Tell them what to do," his voice came through the communication system. She had been listening. "Tell our ships how to find the weak points. Tell them what frequency to use." Started talking. He explained about the sound and the vibrations. He explained how to listen for the hum. He explained where to shoot and how many times. The pilots listened. They tried it, and it worked. One by one, ships started to fall. Their shields, which had seemed invincible, were breaking. They were fighting back. But they were still winning. They had more ships. Even with this new technique, they could not destroy them fast enough. "We need to take out their flagship," said. "The biggest ship, the one in the center. If we destroy that, the others might retreat." "That ship is enormous," said. "Its shields are probably the strongest of all." "Then we need to hit it with everything we have, all at once, same spot, same frequency." Heard this too. She gave the order. Every ship that was still alive turned toward the flagship. They flew toward it in formation. They fired at them. More ships died, but the rest kept coming. Calculated the weak point. He told everyone where to aim. He told them when to fire. Now, he shouted. 20 ships fired at exactly the same spot on the flagship's shield. The humming was so loud it hurt. The shield flickered, it shook, it broke. A hole opened in the shield, right over the flagship's main reactor. Did not need to be told what to do. She flew through the hole right inside the shield. She fired at the reactor at point-blank range. The explosion was blinding. The flagship was torn apart. Pieces of it flew in every direction, barely managed to fly away before the whole thing went up in flames. When the light faded, the fleet was in chaos. Their flagship was gone. Their commander was dead. They did not know what to do. One by one, the ships turned and ran. They jumped into hyperspace and disappeared. The battle was over. They had won. On the bridge of the eternal dawn, everyone was silent. They could not believe what had happened. They had been losing. They had been dying. And then a human had changed everything. Watch the last ships run away. Her hands were shaking. Her 2 hearts were beating fast. He did it, she whispered. One human did it. Stood beside her. He was quiet for a long time, then he spoke. I was wrong about him, said. I thought he was a fool. I thought he was throwing his life away for nothing. But he was not a fool, he was, struggled to find the right word. He was human. Nodded slowly. Yes, she said. He was human, and maybe that is something very special indeed. In small ship leaned back in his seat. He was exhausted, his body hurt, his head hurt, everything hurt. But they had won. Prime was safe. 8 billion people would live because of what they had done. Turned to look at him. Her silver face was full of wonder. How did you know that would work? She asked. The shield frequency thing, how did you figure that out? Smiled weakly. I told you. My grandmother had a very good fishing boat. She taught me to listen. She taught me that everything makes noise and every noise means something. You just have to pay attention. Your grandmother sounds like a wise woman. She was, said. She really was. He closed his eyes. He was so tired. But for the first time since he had left Earth, he felt at peace. He had done what he came to do. He had helped. He had made a difference. His mother would be proud. The celebration on Prime lasted for 7 days. The whole planet was full of music and dancing and happiness. People filled the streets. They cheered and laughed and cried tears of joy. Their world had been saved. Their people had been saved. And everyone knew that a human had made it possible. Was a hero now. Everyone wanted to see him. Everyone wanted to touch him and thank him and give him gifts, but did not like the attention. He was a simple man. He was not used to crowds and cameras and people shouting his name. On the 7th night, when the celebrations were at their loudest, he slipped away. He found a quiet balcony on the top of a tall building. The balcony looked out over the capital city. The buildings were made of crystal that glowed in the moonlight. The streets below were full of lights and movement. It was beautiful. He stood alone, looking at the sky. The stars were different here. They were not the stars he had grown up with, but they were still stars, still bright points of light in the darkness, still reminders that the universe was vast and full of wonder. He heard footsteps behind him. He turned and saw Ambassador walking toward him. Her silver skin glowed softly in the moonlight. Her honey eyes were warm. I thought I might find you here, she said. You do not like the celebration. I like it, said, but I am tired, and I feel strange. All those people looking at me, thanking me. I did not do anything special. I just did what anyone would do. Walked to the edge of the balcony and stood beside him. She looked out at the city below. That is where you are wrong, she said quietly. What you did was not what anyone would do. It was what almost no one would do. In 10,000 years of spacefaring, there have met 847 species. We have seen conquerors who burned worlds for power. We have seen traders who would sell their own families for profit. We have seen cowards who ran from every fight. We have seen monsters and saints and everything in between. She turned to look at him. her forearms folded across her body. "But we have never seen anyone like you. We have never met a species that would risk everything for strangers, that would cross the stars in a dying ship to save people they had never met. Your people call it humanity. We do not have a word for it. Perhaps we should make one." Was quiet. He did not know what to say. "My grandfather was a fisherman," he finally said. "My mother is a school teacher. My father repairs engines in a small shop. I am nobody special. I am just me." "And that is exactly what makes you special," said. "You are a fisherman's grandson who saved 8 billion lives. You are a schoolteacher's son who taught us how to fight. You are an engine repairman's child who fixed a flaw we had missed for 12,000 years. You are just you. And just you is more than enough." She extended one of her hands toward him. It was a gesture she had learned from watching Earth broadcasts, a handshake, a way that humans showed respect. Took her hand and shook it gently. Her skin was cool and smooth, like polished metal. "The Galactic Council will be voting next week," said. "Earth's application for full membership has been submitted. I filed the paperwork myself. Based on what has happened, I believe it will pass without any objections. Not even will dare to vote against it." "Earth will be part of the galaxy," said softly. He had dreamed of this day. All humans had. For centuries, they had looked up at the stars and wondered if they would ever truly belong among them. "More than that," said, "Earth will be important. Other species will want to know about you. They will want to learn how humans think, how you solve problems, how you never give up. Your grandmother's fishing boat may become famous across 100 worlds." Laughed. It was a real laugh full of warmth. She would like that. She was very proud of that boat. They stood together in comfortable silence for a long time. Below them, the celebration continued. Music floated up through the air. Lights danced in the streets. "What will you do now?" asked. "I do not know," admitted. "I suppose I should go home. My mother is probably worried. I left without telling her. She will be angry with me." "Will she?" Thought about his mother, her strict face, her warm eyes, her endless lessons about doing the right thing. "No," he said. "Actually, she will probably be very proud, but she will pretend to be angry for a while. That is how she is." Smiled. It was a strange expression on her alien face, but it was real. "I think I would like to meet your mother someday. She sounds like a remarkable woman." "She is," said. "She is the best person I know." More footsteps approached, and Andan walked onto the balcony. They had been looking for two. "There you are," said. "We were worried you had disappeared." "I just needed some quiet," said. Stepped forward. He was holding something in his large hands. It was a model of a ship, a tiny, perfect model of the broken vessel that had flown across the stars. "I made this," said. His voice was gruff, embarrassed. "It is a copy of your ship. Before we recycled it for parts, I thought you might want to remember it." Took the model carefully. He looked at every detail, the burn marks, the missing panels, the broken engine. It was exactly right. "Thank you," he said. His voice was thick with emotion. "This means more to me than you know." "You mean more to us than you know," replied. "You taught me something important. You taught me that fresh eyes can see what old eyes miss. You taught me that the simplest solutions are sometimes the best. I have been an engineer for 200 years, and a human who smelled like fish taught me more in one day than I learned in decades." "I did not smell like fish," protested. "You smelled a little like fish," said. Everyone laughed, even who rarely laughed at anything. Stepped forward next. "Your body is fully healed now," she said. "The radiation damage has been repaired. Your broken bones have been fixed. You are healthy. Healthier than you were before, actually. Our medicine is very good." "Thank you for saving my life," said. "Thank you for saving all of ours," replied. Was the last to speak. The old advisor looked at with eyes that were no longer suspicious. They were respectful. "I owe you an apology," said. "When you first arrived, I thought you were a fool. I thought you were dangerous. I wanted to throw you off our ship, but I was wrong. You are not a fool. You are not dangerous. You are brave and clever and good, and I am honored to have met you. Bowed slightly, a gesture of respect in his culture. And I am honored to have met all of you. I came here to warn you about danger. I never expected to find friends. That is what humans do, it seems, said. You find friends everywhere you go, even in the most unlikely places. They stood together on the balcony, humans and aliens, looking out at the stars. The celebration continued below, but up here it was peaceful. It was perfect. 3 years later, a new ship launched from Earth's orbital station. It was called the Grandmother's Wisdom. It was the first ship designed by humans and working together. It was the most advanced exploration vessel in the galaxy. Its captain was a young woman named Bay, had chosen her himself. She was brave and smart and kind, everything a captain should be. Before the launch came to see her, he was older now with gray in his hair, but his eyes were still sharp. His spirit was still strong. Remember, he told her, the galaxy is big and strange and full of things that want to hurt you. But also remember this, you are human. That means something now. It means you run toward the fire when everyone else runs away. It means you help because it is right, not because it is easy. It means you carry all of Earth with you, wherever you go. Saluted him, I will not let you down, sir. I know you will not, said. That is why I chose you. The grandmother's wisdom flew into the sky. It vanished into hyperspace. It was gone. Watched it go. He thought about his grandmother and her fishing boat. He thought about his mother and her lessons. He thought about his father and his engines. He thought about all the species out there in the stars, waiting to be discovered. All the friends who had not been made yet. All the problems that needed to be solved. Humanity was just getting started. And the galaxy would never be the same. He smiled and walked away. There was work to do. There was always work to do. That was what it meant to be human. And that was exactly how he liked it.